Hi everyone, tonight we're going to take a deep dive into something that honestly could change everything for you, walking away from what no longer serves you. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. The wind is blowing, you're unsure, and every fiber of your being screams, "Don't jump." But there's this voice, this whisper inside you that says, "It's time." And despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, you take the leap. You might not even realize it at first, but that moment, the decision to walk away, is the first step toward freeing yourself. The thing is, when you choose to walk away, it's not just about leaving a situation, a person, or a job. It's about something much bigger. It's about stepping into the unknown, facing what lies ahead, with nothing but your own courage. And let me tell you, that's terrifying. It's like standing in front of a mirror and realizing the person staring back at you is someone you don't recognize. There's no going back. The past is behind you, and the future is unclear. You probably won't survive this, at least not in the way you expect. That old version of yourself, the one that clung to what was familiar, will fade away. You'll be forced to confront your own doubts, your own fears. What's worse is the people around you might not understand. They'll question why you're doing it. They might even make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. But here's the truth. The moment you make that decision, something in your soul clicks. It's a shift you can't ignore, even if it's painful. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. And go ahead. Share your location and time in the comments. Let's see where we're all tuning in from tonight. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. It's strange, isn't it? That moment when you first decide to leave, it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like stepping into darkness. It's as if you've just hit pause on your entire life and are wondering what's next. You might even feel that pang of loss, of guilt, or of hesitation. But here's the thing about stepping away. You're not losing yourself. You're finding the parts of you that were buried under the weight of everything else. You don't notice it at first, but the moment you choose to walk away from something or someone, you begin to unearth the truth. It might not come in an instant, but slowly, bit by bit, you start to realize that there was always something better waiting for you. That something wasn't in the past. It was in the future. You couldn't see it until you let go. What happens next is inevitable. The moment you make the decision to let go, everything around you seems to change. Not dramatically at first, but you feel it. The air is clearer. You start noticing things you once overlooked. The things that once seemed so important. Old habits, old relationships begin to lose their grip on you. Here's a thought. What if the fear you feel right now, the hesitation that's holding you back from stepping forward, is the very thing that's keeping you stuck in a life that isn't truly yours? What if the key to your growth, to your personal transformation, is simply in letting go? But here's the twist, you might find yourself questioning it. Am I making a mistake, you'll ask? The answer: probably not. Because if it feels like you're walking away from something that no longer serves you, then you are. You've outgrown it. And that's okay. As Carl Jung would say, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This decision to walk away, it's a step toward that, toward shedding everything that doesn't belong to the new you. Before we go on, think about it. What are you holding on to right now? Just because it's familiar? What's weighing you down? And what would it feel like to finally release it? Part 2. Facing your inner fears. The moment you step away from something familiar, the air feels thicker, as if it's pressing down on you. You might not even realize it at first, but as you make that decision, fear starts creeping in. It's a sneaky thing, fear. It has a way of disguising itself as concern, as doubt, or even as a voice telling you that you're about to make the biggest mistake of your life. And let me tell you, it's not easy to face those fears. When you walk away, the first emotion that hits you is often fear, not just of what you're leaving behind, but of what's ahead. The uncertainty of the future, the unknown, can feel paralyzing. You probably won't survive this. At least that's what your mind might be telling you in the first few moments. It'll throw every worst-case scenario your way. What if you regret it? What if you never find anything better? What if you fail? It's like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing you have to jump but not knowing what's waiting for you at the bottom. But here's the thing about fear. It doesn't define you unless you let it. If you let those fears take hold, they'll keep you exactly where you are. You'll stay in that toxic relationship, that dead-end job, or that situation that drains you because it feels safe in its familiarity. But is it really safe? Or is it just comfortable enough that you're willing to settle for less than you deserve? In that moment when you decide to walk away, fear becomes both your enemy and your guide. It's the enemy because it tries to keep you stuck playing on your insecurities and doubts. But it's also your guide because it forces you to confront those inner demons you've been avoiding for so long. Fear has a funny way of pushing you to face the things you've been hiding from the parts of yourself that you've ignored or suppressed. The moment you choose to walk away, you're not just leaving behind a person or a situation, you're confronting your own shadows. And trust me, that's a lot scarier than anything else. But once you make the decision, something remarkable happens. You start to realize that fear, though it might not disappear entirely, loses its grip on you. It no longer has control over your decisions. Instead, you find courage in the unknown. You begin to see that the fear you once felt is just a signal of growth. It's the part of you that's trying to keep you from stepping into the unknown, but it's also the same part of you that, when faced head-on, will guide you toward your true path. So how do you face this fear? First, you have to acknowledge it. Don't run from it. Don't try to bury it. Fear is a natural part of growth, and the more you resist it, the more power it has over you. When you accept fear as part of the process, you free yourself from its hold. Think about this for a second. What are you really afraid of? Is it the unknown? The possibility of failure? Or is it that you're afraid of truly stepping into who you are and living authentically? When you walk away, you're essentially saying, I'm ready to face that fear head-on. And that's where the real power lies. Here's the kicker: fear doesn't go away. Once you walk away, it shifts. You'll still have moments of doubt. You'll still question your decision. But what you won't have is regret, because walking away will have given you the space to grow. And growth, though uncomfortable, is always worth it. Before you continue, ask yourself, what fears are holding you back right now? What would it look like to face them head-on, to walk away from what no longer serves you, and see what lies ahead? Part 3. The unseen weight you carry. When you decide to walk away, it feels like you're carrying an invisible load with you. You might not even realize it at first, but every step you take away from that situation or relationship feels heavier than the one before. It's not just the physical act of leaving. There's an emotional, psychological weight that follows you. And the truth is, most of us don't even realize how heavy that weight is until we begin to let it go. You probably won't survive this, at least not without feeling the full impact of what you've been holding on to. The weight you've carried may not have been visible to others, but it's been there, tucked away in your heart, in your mind, and in your soul. It's the energy you've given to people, situations, and habits that drain you. It's the part of you that stayed in toxic spaces because you thought it was what you deserved. The fear of change, the fear of what you might lose, the fear of starting over, these are all part of the weight. And yet, as soon as you begin to let go, you start to feel lighter, like you can finally breathe. This weight has been there for so long that you've grown accustomed to it. You carry it as part of your daily life without even realizing it's weighing you down. It's in the long hours you spend in situations that drain your energy, in the words you never say, because you don't want to rock the boat, in the silent compromises you make with your own peace, just to keep the peace with others. We tend to carry this weight out of habit, out of fear, out of the belief that we have no other choice. But the moment you decide to walk away, it's like the first crack in the armor that's been holding you in place. It's almost as if you're shedding layers of yourself you didn't even know were there. The emotional baggage that once felt like a part of who you are starts to peel away. And with every step you take toward leaving, you begin to see the truth. You were never meant to carry all this weight. You were never meant to hold on to the things, the people, the beliefs that have kept you stuck. The weight you've been carrying wasn't yours to carry in the first place. And here's the paradox: as you walk away, you might feel like you're leaving behind pieces of yourself. But in reality, you're shedding all the parts that were never truly you. The false identities, the roles you've played for others, the expectations you've carried for far too long. All of these are the weight you don't need anymore. The real you, the one you've been hiding beneath the surface, is waiting to emerge. And once you shed the weight, it's like you finally have the freedom to breathe deeply again. Jung once said, "What you resist persists." The more you resist facing what's weighing you down, the more it will keep you trapped. But when you finally choose to walk away, when you choose to release the weight, you create the space for transformation. It's like taking off a heavy coat that's been weighing you down for years. At first you might feel exposed, vulnerable, but soon you realize that the freedom that comes with being lighter is worth every bit of discomfort. Think about it for a moment. What weight have you been carrying that isn't yours? What emotional baggage, what past hurt, what limiting belief have you been holding on to, thinking it was part of who you are? What would it feel like to release that weight, to take the first step toward freedom? The act of letting go isn't just about leaving behind a person or a situation. It's about releasing everything that's been holding you back, everything that's been making your life harder than it needs to be. And when you let go, you open yourself up to something far greater than the burden you've been carrying. Part 4. The Power of Silence. The first few moments after you've decided to walk away are filled with a strange, almost unsettling silence. You might expect it to be a sense of relief, but instead it feels like a void, a space that stretches out in front of you, endless and empty. It's as though the world has paused, waiting for you to fill it with something new. But here's the thing about silence. It's not something to fear. In fact, it's one of the most powerful tools you'll have as you move forward. You probably won't survive this, not without confronting the silence. It's uncomfortable, almost eerie at first, because it forces you to confront yourself in a way you've avoided for a long time. In the noise of everyday life, it's easy to ignore the deeper questions, the questions that lie beneath the surface of our busy schedules and distractions. But once you've made the decision to walk away, the silence forces those questions to the forefront of your mind. What do I really want? Who am I without all the roles I've played? The answers don't come easily, and they certainly don't come quickly. But the silence. That's where you'll find the space to figure it out. At first, this silence may feel like loneliness. It may feel like you've lost someone by walking away. But the truth is, what you've lost is not nearly as important as what you've gained. The silence is a sacred space, one that you now have the opportunity to fill with your own thoughts, your own desires, your own authenticity. It's in this silence that you begin to reconnect with yourself in a way that wasn't possible before. When you walked away, you created a void. Yes, but that void is not something to fear. It's fertile ground for growth, for self-discovery, for the parts of you that have been buried under years of noise and distraction. Jung had an interesting way of describing the unconscious mind. He saw it as a kind of vast hidden space that is constantly communicating with us, but only in whispers. In our everyday lives, we're often too busy to listen to these whispers. But when we choose to walk away and embrace silence, those whispers grow louder. Suddenly, you start hearing things you never noticed before, patterns in your thoughts, feelings and desires that were always there, but hidden beneath the surface. The silence brings clarity. And here's where the magic happens. The moment you embrace this silence, you give yourself the space to listen, not just to the world around you, but to the world within you. It's in this silence that you can start hearing your true voice, the one that's been silenced for so long by the expectations of others. You can begin to hear what you really want, what really matters to you, without the distractions of outside noise. The silence becomes your teacher, your guide. But it's not all peace and calm. As you sit with this silence, you may feel moments of unease, of doubt, or even regret. That's normal. It's part of the process. You might question whether you made the right decision, whether you've made a mistake by stepping into this void. But here's the truth. It's only by sitting with that discomfort, by allowing yourself to feel those emotions, that you can truly grow. The silence is your opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to become more aware of the things that matter, the things that make you feel alive. It's easy to want to fill the silence with noise, with distractions to drown out the unease. But don't rush through it. Allow the silence to settle in. Let it be uncomfortable. Let it be the place where you find your true self. Because once you've been through it, once you've embraced the silence and allowed yourself to face it head-on, you'll come out the other side, stronger, more authentic, and more connected to your purpose. Think about this. What do you hear when everything goes silent? What thoughts arise? What emotions bubble to the surface? And most importantly, what would it look like if you gave yourself the permission to sit with those thoughts, without rushing to fill the space with noise or distractions? In that silence, you'll find clarity. And in that clarity, you'll find your true direction. Part 5. When you realize your true needs. The moment you walk away from what has been familiar, a sense of clarity begins to emerge, albeit in fragments. It's like a fog, lifting slowly, revealing bits and pieces of what you've always needed, but never fully understood. In the rush of life, we often get swept up in the roles we play, the expectations others have for us, and the pressure to conform. But when you walk away, you create the space to ask a question that's often ignored. What do I truly need? You probably won't survive this, not without facing what you truly need. As you begin to walk away, you might realize that the things you once thought you couldn't live without aren't as important as you believed. In fact, the more you walk away, the more you shed old layers of yourself, the more you discover what truly matters. This isn't about material needs or surface-level desires. It's about the deeper things, the emotional, spiritual, and psychological needs that we often neglect. For years, you may have sacrificed parts of yourself to meet the needs of others. You might have stayed in relationships, jobs, or situations that drained you because you thought it was your duty. Or maybe you thought that by ignoring your own needs, you could somehow keep the peace or avoid confrontation. But walking away forces you to confront the truth, what you've been giving away so freely. Your energy, your time, your love has been misdirected. You were so busy fulfilling the needs of others that you forgot to honor your own. And as soon as you start walking away, you'll feel the difference. The fog begins to lift, and you start to see what you've been missing all along. The things that really matter, self-care, boundaries, peace of mind, suddenly come into focus. You realize that you've been living for others, but now it's time to live for yourself. It's not a selfish act. It's an act of self-preservation. You can't give from an empty cup after all. The truth is, in order to be your best self for others, you first need to honor your own needs. As Carl Jung put it, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And in order to truly become who you are, you need to start understanding your own needs. You need to give yourself permission to ask the tough questions. What do I really need in my life right now? What do I want for myself? What are the things that will nourish my soul and help me thrive? For some, this may mean reclaiming a lost passion or hobby that was buried under years of adult responsibilities. For others, it might be as simple as acknowledging the need for space, mental space, physical space, emotional space, to breathe and simply be. Whatever it is, walking away creates the space for you to rediscover it. And that's one of the most liberating parts of the journey. It's easy to overlook your own needs when you're constantly giving to others. But the truth is, the more you honor your needs, the more you'll be able to give in a way that's healthy and fulfilling, not draining. You'll begin to see that when you focus on what truly nourishes you, the people around you will benefit too, because you'll be in a much better place to show up for them. Before we go on, think about this. What do you really need right now? What are the things that you've been neglecting in your own life? What would happen if you gave yourself permission to put those needs first without guilt or hesitation? The moment you begin to understand your needs, you'll realize how much you've been giving away without ever getting what you truly deserve in return. Part 6. The unexpected consequences of letting go. There's something paradoxical about walking away from something that's been weighing on you for so long. You expect freedom, relief, even a sense of accomplishment. But in reality, letting go often feels like opening a door to a whole new world of discomfort. At first, it might feel like you're not sure if you made the right decision. That moment after you've taken the leap, when you've created that space between you and whatever it was you were holding on to, the silence can be deafening. It's almost like you've crossed into unknown territory and there's no turning back. You probably won't survive this, not without feeling the weight of unexpected consequences. It's funny how the decision to free yourself from a situation, person, or habit doesn't immediately feel like liberation. Instead, it feels like emptiness, like a void that's hard to fill. In the moments that follow your decision, you might wonder if you did the right thing, and the uncertainty that creeps in can be overwhelming. You might even feel an unexpected sense of loss, not because you miss what you let go of, but because you now have to confront the reality of what's left behind. At first, this sense of emptiness can be jarring. It might be uncomfortable to suddenly be in a space where there's nothing familiar, but this is where the magic happens. That emptiness. It's not a bad thing. It's a necessary space for transformation. It's where new growth can occur. It's like a garden that's been cleared, ready to be replanted. And although it's uncomfortable, it's also full of potential. The truth is, letting go can trigger a cascade of emotions and experiences you didn't expect. For some, it's the painful realization of how long they've been stuck in a situation that wasn't healthy. For others, it's the overwhelming feeling of loneliness that comes with the absence of the very thing you were trying to escape. But here's the interesting part. This is where you begin to rebuild. And it's not just a physical rebuilding, it's a mental, emotional, and spiritual reconstruction. The void left by what you've let go of creates a space for something new, something better, something more aligned with your true self. It's easy to think that the loss you feel is the final cost of walking away. But what you don't see at first is that this loss is actually a necessary part of the process. You might miss the comfort of the old, even though it wasn't serving you. You might feel a deep longing for something familiar, but here's the truth. What you're mourning isn't the loss of the situation. It's the loss of the version of yourself that stayed there. It's the version of you who settled, who ignored their true needs, who sacrificed their peace for the sake of others. What you're left with, though, is something far more valuable: yourself. And that self, unburdened by the old, is capable of far more than you ever realized. Yes, The process of letting go can be painful. Yes, it can feel like you've lost something important. But the reality is you haven't lost anything at all. You've simply made space for something new to come in, something that will align better with your true essence. Before you continue, reflect on this. What consequences have you experienced since walking away from something? Have they felt uncomfortable, unexpected? And in those moments of discomfort, what have you learned about yourself that you didn't know before? Part 7. The liberation of confronting your shadows. One of the most profound aspects of walking away from what no longer serves you is the inevitable confrontation with your own shadows. Carl Jung believed that our shadows are the parts of ourselves we hide from the world, and sometimes from ourselves. These hidden parts are often uncomfortable, full of traits we don't want to acknowledge, whether it's anger, fear, jealousy, or even deep-seated guilt. And here's the twist: when you choose to let go of something, when you step away from a toxic situation or person, you not only face what you're leaving behind, but also the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. You probably won't survive this, not without meeting your shadows head-on. It's one thing to walk away from a situation, but it's another to confront the very parts of you that allowed that situation to continue in the first place. When you make the decision to let go, the veil is lifted, and you suddenly realize that the pain, the patterns, and the emotions that were holding you back weren't just about the people or circumstances around you. They were also about the parts of yourself you hadn't yet accepted. At first, this can feel overwhelming. The very act of walking away opens the door to the parts of you that have been buried for so long. These parts might feel like old wounds, unresolved emotions, or patterns you didn't even know you had. And yet these shadows are where your deepest growth lies. It's through acknowledging and accepting these parts of yourself that you begin the process of integration, the process of becoming whole. Jung often talked about the importance of integrating the shadow, about how we cannot truly be ourselves until we acknowledge and accept the darker, less desirable parts of who we are. These are the parts of us that we try to suppress, thinking that they are not worthy of love or acceptance. But here's the truth: the shadow isn't something to be feared. It's not the enemy. It's the key to unlocking the fullness of who you are. When you walk away from something toxic, you start to uncover these hidden aspects of yourself. Maybe you realize that you've been holding on to anger for years, or that you've been suppressing a need for freedom that's always been there. Maybe you confront the fear of failure, the deep insecurity that you've spent years running from. The beautiful thing is that once you face these shadows, you can begin to transform them. You can stop running from them and start embracing them as part of your authentic self. This process isn't easy. Confronting your shadows can feel like peeling back the layers of an onion, each layer revealing something more vulnerable, more raw, and often more painful. But it's also the most liberating thing you'll ever do. When you stop resisting these parts of yourself, when you allow them to be seen and acknowledged, you free yourself from their grip. No longer will they control your choices, your actions, or your relationships. It's important to remember that the shadows are not bad. They are simply parts of you that have been neglected or misunderstood. They are the parts of you that need love, attention, and understanding. And when you allow yourself to embrace them, you transform them into something that empowers you. They no longer hold you back. Instead, they push you forward, helping you become more aligned with your true self. Jung once said, "The brighter the light, the darker the shadow." The more you step into the light of your true self, the more you'll encounter the darkness of your shadow. But instead of pushing it away, you must welcome it. Only then will you experience the full liberation that comes with being whole. So take a moment to reflect. What parts of yourself have you been avoiding? What shadows are lurking in the corners of your mind, waiting to be acknowledged? What would it feel like to finally embrace them, to stop running, and to allow them to guide you toward your true self? Part 8. How to find peace in emptiness. After making the decision to walk away, you may find yourself in a place that feels unsettling, an emptiness that seems to stretch endlessly in front of you. It's not the kind of emptiness that you can easily fill with distractions or new experiences. It's deeper. It's a space that was left behind when you let go of something that no longer served you. And while it may initially feel like a void, this emptiness holds an incredible potential for growth. In fact, it's in this very emptiness that you'll discover the peace you've been searching for all along. You probably won't survive this, not without embracing the emptiness that follows your decision. It's easy to feel the pull, to fill the silence, to rush into something new, in an attempt to avoid the discomfort. But this is a critical moment in your journey. The emptiness you're feeling is not something to fear, it's a necessary part of your transformation. It's a blank canvas waiting for you to paint it with your true desires, your authentic self, and the vision of the life you want to create. When you walk away, you make space for the things that really matter. You shed the old, the outdated, and the toxic, and in doing so, you open up the possibility for new experiences, relationships, and opportunities to flow into your life. But before you can welcome the new, you must first be willing to sit with the silence. And sitting with silence, especially after letting go, isn't easy. It's tempting to avoid it to distract yourself with something else. But true peace comes only when you face the void head-on. Jung believed that the unconscious mind communicates with us in subtle ways, often through symbols and feelings. The emptiness you feel is one of those symbols. It's the space where your soul can breathe, where you can finally listen to your true desires, and where you can reconnect with the person you were always meant to be. When you avoid this emptiness, you miss the opportunity to truly understand yourself. But when you sit with it, when you allow yourself to fully experience the stillness, you open the door to profound personal growth. Think of this emptiness as fertile soil, ready to nurture the seeds of change. The silence and space are not just nothing, they are the foundation upon which you can rebuild. If you've ever seen an empty plot of land before it's cultivated, you know that while it may appear barren at first, it's actually brimming with possibility. That's exactly what the emptiness after letting go is. It's full of potential. It's the place where you can start fresh, where you can plant new intentions, dreams, and desires that align with your true self. But here's the catch: you have to resist the urge to fill the void immediately. That's where the real challenge lies. It's so tempting to jump into something new or reach out to people just to fill the space and avoid the discomfort. But in doing so, you miss the opportunity to truly reflect, to reconnect with your inner voice, and to create something meaningful in your life. In the stillness, you will hear yourself. You'll be able to hear what you really want, what brings you joy, and what serves your soul. This isn't an instant process. It takes time to learn how to embrace the silence. But once you do, once you become comfortable with the quiet and the space it provides, you will find peace in a way you never could have imagined. Jung famously said, "In the process of letting go, we don't just release the past, we make room for the future." The emptiness you feel isn't the end. It's the beginning of something new, something better. So take a moment to reflect. What does the emptiness in your life feel like right now? Are you afraid of it, or are you willing to sit with it and allow it to transform you? How can you embrace this space without rushing to fill it with distractions? It is in the emptiness that your true self will emerge. Part 9. The struggle with regret and doubt. When you decide to walk away from something or someone, it's not just about feeling liberated or empowered. No. There's also a real battle that occurs in the aftermath. That battle isn't with the people you left behind or the situation you walked away from. It's with yourself. It's with the doubts that creep in, the questions that linger, and the nagging voice that says, "Did I make the right choice?" You probably won't survive this, not without encountering the storm of regret and doubt that's bound to follow. The moment you decide to step away from something familiar, It's like opening a floodgate. The emotions come rushing in, and regret is one of the first to appear. Maybe you wonder if you acted too hastily, if there was a way you could have made it work. Maybe you start second-guessing everything. What if I miss my chance? What if I never find something better? What if I'm making a huge mistake? But here's the thing. Regret doesn't necessarily mean you've done something wrong. In fact, it's often a sign of growth. Regret arises from the emotional attachment you had to the situation or person you left behind. It's not necessarily about the decision itself, but about the transition that comes with it. The discomfort of walking away from what's familiar creates an emotional response, and that response is natural. We fear the unknown, and in the face of uncertainty, regret often feels like the easier emotion to hold on to. But here's the beautiful paradox. Doubt and regret are actually signs that you're on the right path. You can't truly move forward without questioning your choices at some point. Think about it. If you're comfortable and certain with every decision you make, are you really growing? Growth isn't a straight line. It's messy, unpredictable, and often filled with second-guessing. So while regret might feel like a roadblock, it's actually a part of the process of transformation. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And in order to become who you truly are, you have to face the discomfort of doubt and regret. These emotions are not your enemies. They're guides. They show you where you've come from and where you need to go. They remind you that change is hard, that it challenges your sense of identity, and that's okay. The key to dealing with regret and doubt is to accept them, to sit with them, and to understand that they're temporary. You will not be stuck in this state forever, but you must let yourself experience it fully in order to move past it. The moment you allow regret and doubt to just be, rather than fighting them, you start to see them for what they really are: signposts. They're simply markers along the road that show you how far you've come. It's important to remind yourself that regret is not the same as failure. Just because you're feeling unsure doesn't mean you've made a mistake. It means you're human. It means you're growing. And that's exactly what you need to do. Right now, allow yourself to grow. Think about this for a moment. What are you regretting right now? Is it the decision to walk away, or is it the fear of what's to come? What would happen if you reframed your regret as a sign of progress, a reminder that you're stepping into something new and better? Part 10. Reclaiming your authenticity. One of the most powerful realizations that comes from walking away from something that no longer serves you is the rediscovery of your authenticity. It's almost as if, when you let go of all the external influences, be it people, situations, or societal expectations, you begin to hear the voice that's always been there, the voice of your true self. And let me tell you, that voice, it's powerful. It's not quiet and uncertain like the doubts you've been battling. It's confident, grounded, and full of clarity. You probably won't survive this, not without facing the truth of who you are. For so long, you've been living in a way that wasn't truly aligned with your essence. Maybe you've been playing roles to please others, or you've been putting on a mask to fit into what society expects of you. But walking away gives you the chance to take off that mask and embrace who you really are beneath it all. The truth is, the more you walk away from the things that drain you, the more you will reconnect with yourself. You'll begin to notice what you like, what you want, what truly brings you joy. It's as though the clutter of your old life starts to fade, and suddenly you can see the path that's been waiting for you all along. This is the magic of reclaiming your authenticity. It's not something you need to search for outside of yourself. It's already within you, just waiting to be embraced. In a world that constantly tells you who you should be, how you should act, and what you should want, it's easy to lose sight of who you truly are. But the moment you choose to walk away from the noise, from the pressure, you begin to hear your own voice more clearly. And that's when things start to change. You stop living for others, stop seeking external validation, and start living for yourself. Your decisions become aligned with your values, your true desires, and what feels right for you. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." This is the essence of reclaiming your authenticity. It's not about chasing after external markers of success or happiness. It's about looking inward, reconnecting with your true self, and living in a way that reflects who you really are. And as you begin to reclaim your authenticity, something beautiful happens. You begin to trust yourself more. You stop doubting your decisions and start feeling confident in your ability to navigate life. This newfound self-assurance ripples out, impacting every part of your life. The relationships you cultivate, the work you do, the way you show up in the world, all of it begins to reflect your true essence. And the best part, it feels natural. It feels like home. Think about this. What would it feel like to stop living for others and start living for yourself? How would your life change if you fully embraced your true self without fear or apology? Part 11. The Power of Boundaries. One of the most significant and liberating aspects of walking away from what no longer serves you is the ability to establish and enforce boundaries. Let's face it, we've all been in situations where we've tolerated things that drained us, whether it's people who overstep their limits, jobs that demand more than we're willing to give, or relationships that leave us feeling depleted. But when you choose to walk away, one of the first things you realize is just how important boundaries truly are. You probably won't survive this, not without setting clear boundaries that protect your peace. Walking away from a toxic situation or person is only the first step. The real challenge comes after, when you have to maintain those boundaries and honor your own needs. The beauty of boundaries is that they are not walls, they are lines of self-respect. Boundaries tell others how to treat you, and more importantly, they tell you how to treat yourself. Without boundaries, it's easy to lose yourself in the needs of others, to put your own well-being last, and to ignore the things that matter most to you. At first, setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable. You might worry about disappointing others or about being seen as selfish or cold. But the truth is, boundaries are an act of self-care, not selfishness. They're a way to protect your emotional energy, your time, and your mental health. When you walk away from a toxic situation, you reclaim the right to say no, to protect your peace, and to stand firm in what you need and deserve. Jung's concept of individuation, becoming your true self, requires you to be clear about what you will and won't accept. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose the people and situations that align with your values and who you are becoming. When you establish boundaries, you stop giving away your energy to things that drain you. You begin to prioritize your needs, knowing that by doing so, you are creating space for the people and opportunities that truly nourish you. Here's the thing about boundaries. They aren't just about saying no to others. They're also about saying yes to yourself. Every time you choose to honor your boundaries, you are affirming your worth. You're telling yourself that you deserve to be treated with respect and kindness. You're creating a space where your needs are valued, where your peace is protected, and where you can thrive. But it's not always easy. People will test your boundaries. They'll push, they'll ask for more than you're willing to give, and they'll try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. But here's the reality. People will only treat you as well as you treat yourself. If you allow them to overstep your boundaries, you're teaching them that it's okay to disregard your needs. But when you stand firm in your boundaries, you teach them and yourself that you are worthy of respect and that your well-being matters. Think about it for a moment. What boundaries do you need to establish in your life? Are there situations or relationships that have been draining your energy? And how can you start to protect yourself from those influences? What would your life look like if you truly honored your needs, regardless of what others might think or say? Part 12. Synchronicity, The universe's response. After you've made the decision to walk away, it's easy to think that the path ahead will be lonely, uncertain, and filled with more challenges. And yes, there will be some moments of doubt and fear. But here's where the magic happens. Once you create space by letting go of what no longer serves you, the universe has a funny way of responding. It doesn't just leave you in the void, it begins to fill that space with new possibilities, new opportunities, and sometimes, even new people. This is what Carl Jung referred to as synchronicity, the meaningful coincidences that occur when you align your life with your true self. You probably won't survive this, not without recognizing the synchronicities that begin to unfold in your life. When you make space for what's aligned with your authentic self, the universe starts to deliver. It's not magic, but it feels like it. These synchronicities often appear when you least expect them: an unexpected job, offer a chance meeting with someone who shares your passions, or an opportunity that feels too perfect to be a coincidence. But they are not coincidences. They are signs that you are on the right path, that you are finally in sync with your true purpose. It's easy to brush these moments off as luck or chance, but if you pay attention, you'll start to see a pattern. The more you walk away from what drains you, the more the universe provides what you need. It's as if, by stepping into alignment with your true self, you unlock a flow of energy that brings the right opportunities, people, and experiences to you. And sometimes, those synchronicities come in unexpected forms, through challenges that force you to grow, or through unexpected detours that lead to better things. But here's the trick: you have to be open to seeing them. You have to be willing to recognize the signs, no matter how subtle. Synchronicity doesn't always come in big, dramatic ways. Sometimes it's a small shift, a quiet moment that feels significant, or an opportunity that feels like it was meant for you all along. You have to trust that the universe is responding to your decision to walk away, even when the next step isn't immediately clear. One of the most profound aspects of synchronicity is that it helps you realize that you are not alone on your journey. The universe, or whatever higher force you believe in, is guiding you, gently nudging you in the right direction. It's like a cosmic GPS that recalculates your path when you take a detour. And as you begin to pay attention to the synchronicities, you'll realize that they are not random. They are signs that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you should be doing. The beauty of synchronicity is that it brings you into alignment with the right people and experiences. You start to meet people who understand you, who support you, who resonate with your new energy. The relationships you build become more authentic, deeper, and more fulfilling. You begin to attract what you've been waiting for, opportunities that were always there, but you couldn't see them until you made space by walking away. But you have to remain open. The moment you start doubting the process or closing yourself off to the signs, the flow of synchronicity can slow down. The universe responds to your energy, and when you walk away with an open heart and a clear mind, it begins to align everything around you in perfect harmony. Think about this. What synchronicities have already occurred in your life since you began to walk away from what was no longer serving you? How can you begin to open yourself up to the signs, to the opportunities that are now entering your life? What would it look like to trust that the universe is guiding you toward something greater? Part 13. Facing the discomfort of change. Walking away from something familiar is never easy. The act itself is often filled with hope and the possibility of a brighter future, but the truth is, change is uncomfortable. It challenges your sense of identity, it shakes your security, and it demands that you confront parts of yourself you've been avoiding. You might have left behind something toxic, but what you're facing now is an entirely new world, one that doesn't have the same reassuring familiarity, one that feels daunting and uncertain. You probably won't survive this, not without experiencing the discomfort that comes with change. It's one thing to walk away from something that no longer serves you, but it's another thing to embrace the new that comes in its place. The space you've created after letting go is an unfamiliar terrain, and it can feel like you've lost a piece of yourself. But here's the thing: change is a necessary part of growth. It is through the discomfort of change that you become stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with your true self. At first, change feels chaotic. You'll likely experience a sense of loss, not because you miss the old, but because it's easy to cling to what you know, even if what you know no longer works for you. The unfamiliar can be terrifying. The fear of the unknown, the uncertainty of what's to come, and the doubt that creeps in about whether you made the right decision, these are all natural reactions to change. But what you might not realize in the midst of the discomfort is that this is exactly what you need. This discomfort is the catalyst for transformation. Carl Jung talked a lot about transformation being a process of confronting and integrating the parts of ourselves we've been neglecting. The discomfort of change forces you to face those parts of yourself, the fears, the insecurities, the doubts that you've kept hidden away. And while it might be uncomfortable at first, it's the key to moving forward. You cannot grow if you remain in the same place, clinging to the old and familiar. Change forces you to shed old skin, to break free from the patterns and beliefs that no longer serve you. But this process isn't easy. It's messy. It's often filled with moments of uncertainty and doubt. You might question whether you made the right decision. You might wonder if you're capable of navigating the unknown. But here's what I want you to remember. The discomfort of change is temporary. It's a necessary part of your growth. It's like planting a seed in the ground. You can't see it yet. But beneath the surface, the roots are growing. The transformation is happening. It's okay to feel uncomfortable during this period of change. It's okay to feel unsure, to question your path. But don't let that discomfort stop you. Embrace it, because it's in that discomfort that you'll discover your true strength. You'll learn to trust yourself, to trust the process, and to trust that the discomfort is temporary, but the growth is permanent. Think about it for a moment. What discomfort are you facing in your life right now? Is it the uncertainty of the path ahead? The fear of letting go of the old? What would it look like if you allowed yourself to embrace that discomfort, to sit with it, and to see it as a sign of your growth? Part 14. Building new relationships with your true self. As you continue your journey of walking away from what no longer serves you, there's a remarkable shift that begins to happen. You start to build new relationships. But these relationships are unlike the ones you've had before. They're not based on old patterns, expectations, or the roles you once played. These new connections are grounded in authenticity, mutual respect, and shared values. They are the relationships that align with who you are becoming, not who you once were. You probably won't survive this, not without seeing how different these new relationships are from the ones you left behind. At first, you might be tempted to reconnect with old friends, family members, or even romantic partners who were part of your past. You might think that these relationships will offer comfort, familiarity, or a sense of stability in the midst of change. But what you'll quickly realize is that the relationships you once had were tied to an old version of yourself, the version that needed validation, the version that was afraid to speak up, the version that was afraid to walk away. The new relationships you start to form, however, will be rooted in your true self. These relationships will allow you to show up exactly as you are. No masks, no pretenses, no need to please anyone. You'll find people who respect your boundaries, who see you for who you truly are, and who encourage you to keep growing. These are the relationships that nourish you, the ones that lift you up rather than drain you. But building these new relationships isn't just about finding new people. It's about showing up as your true self. You can't attract authentic relationships if you're still hiding parts of yourself or pretending to be someone you're not. Walking away from the old gives you the space to reconnect with who you really are, and it's this authenticity that draws the right people to you. When you are truly yourself, you create the conditions for real, meaningful connections. One of the most beautiful things about these new relationships is that they won't come with the same expectations or baggage that your old relationships may have had. You won't have to bend over backward to meet the needs of others at the expense of your own. Instead, you'll find people who respect your needs, who encourage your independence, and who support you in becoming the best version of yourself. These relationships will feel easy, natural, and fulfilling because they are based on mutual understanding and authentic connection. Jung's concept of individuation is key here. It's the process of becoming your true self, and part of that process involves attracting the people who are in alignment with that truth. As you walk away from the old, you create space for these new relationships to emerge. And these relationships won't just be with other people, they'll also be with yourself. You'll learn to trust yourself more, to honor your needs, and to embrace your true essence. And it's through this self-trust that you'll find deeper, more meaningful connections with others. Think about this. What would your relationships look like if they were built on authenticity and mutual respect? How would your life change if you let go of old connections that no longer served you and made space for relationships that truly nourish your soul? Are you ready to embrace your true self and start attracting the relationships that align with who you are becoming? Practice. The freedom in letting go of control. One of the most powerful aspects of walking away from what no longer serves you is the liberation that comes from letting go of control. For so long, many of us have tried to control every aspect of our lives, our relationships, our work, even our emotions. We hold on tightly to the things we fear losing, desperately trying to keep them in place. But the truth is, control is an illusion. It's a heavy burden, one that keeps us trapped in cycles of stress, fear, and anxiety. And when you decide to walk away, you begin to release that need for control, and in doing so, you discover an extraordinary freedom. You probably won't survive this, not without surrendering some of the control you've been holding on to for so long. The desire to control is rooted in fear, fear of the unknown, fear of loss, and fear of being vulnerable. We try to control the outcomes, the people, and the situations around us in order to feel safe and secure. But the truth is, control doesn't bring security. It brings anxiety. When you try to control everything, you miss the beauty of the present moment. You miss the opportunity to let life unfold naturally, to trust that the universe will guide you toward what's right for you. The moment you walk away from something that has been holding you back, you begin to let go of that need for control. You stop trying to force things into place and instead allow yourself to flow with life. This doesn't mean you stop making decisions or setting intentions. It means you release the need to control every outcome. You let go of the pressure to make everything perfect and start embracing the uncertainty of life. And in that uncertainty, you find freedom. Jung's philosophy teaches us that true freedom comes from surrendering to the flow of life. It's about letting go of the need to control every moment and instead allowing ourselves to be guided by our intuition, our inner wisdom, and our deepest desires. When you stop trying to control every situation, you create space for something greater to unfold. You stop living in constant resistance and start living in alignment with your true self. Letting go of control doesn't mean being passive or giving up on your dreams. It simply means releasing the need to micromanage every aspect of your life. It means trusting that things will unfold as they are meant to, even if it doesn't always go according to plan. When you surrender control, you open yourself up to new opportunities, new experiences, and new possibilities. The future is no longer something you need to fear or try to control. It becomes something you can embrace with open arms, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. And the more you let go, the more you will feel the freedom that comes with it. The pressure to perform, to be perfect, to meet other people's expectations, these burdens will start to fade. You'll begin to feel lighter, freer, and more at peace with who you are. The need to control everything will melt away, and in its place, you'll find a deep sense of trust in yourself and in the world around you. Think about this. How much of your life have you spent trying to control outcomes, people, or situations? What would it feel like to release that need for control and trust the process of life? What would happen if you allowed yourself to flow with life rather than fighting against it? See you in the next video. Be authentic, be brave, and never stop seeking your truth.